Okay, I would like to welcome everybody back. I'm Right On Ron. I'm an alcoholic, and this is Big Book Bobby. And are you an alcoholic?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, now we're talking about step 4, and we're going to try to make this very crystal clear. Step 4 should only take you about 2 hours to actually do. But let's start off with, if you have your sheets in front of you, let's start off with page 9. And page 9 talks about the step 4 definitions. All of this does is it tells, can you show us the page 9, Bobby? There it is right there. All this tells you is what the words mean. That's all. Okay, so thanks, Bobby. Let's turn over to page 10. And if you can show everybody page 10, Bobby, this is really important. This is our defects of character. And if you leave that up there for a second, Bobby, this is our defects sheet. And in the white, it talks about our defects, and the blue will tell you God's will. So the defects are I'm angry. The opposite will be God's will, which will be in blue. Defect sheet, this is really going to come in handy when we do our resentments. Okay, let's go to the other page, page 11. And this is where we start our resentments. And I'm just going to read the very top, and then I'm going to pass it over to Bobby. Okay, this is our first list. It's our resentments. And it's set up from pages 64 to 67. Step 4, we made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. And I'll read this first for you, Bobby. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stems all forms of spiritual disease. We have been not only mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady, which we've explained that at the beginning, is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. We list the people, institutions, or principles whom we were angry. Just one last thing, Bobby, is resentment is number one offender that destroys more alcoholics than anything else. And Bobby, what's number 2? And I know you know this.
It's self-pity.
It's self-pity. Self-pity, I find, is poison for alcoholics, and it is. And Bill Wilson talks about it in his story. He almost went back out drinking because of resentment and self-pity. So self-pity is the number 1. Number 2 is self-pity. So go ahead, explain this to everybody now, Bobby.
Okay, so what we're going to do is all of our lists are broken down in columns. So we're going to look at the first column here, and it says resentments. 15 resentments, and then you last. So the example, right on Ron. So you're going to write down names, people, places, or things that you're resentful towards, and you're going to start working down the column. So I'm going to start names all the way to page or to number 15, which is on the next page. And once I'm done that, then I go to the next column, the causes. So what are the causes? Here is the example for Ron. Is he's loud. He doesn't like me. He's too happy. So this is why I have the resentment, because, right?
That's right.
So you're going to go through each one, and you want a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 5 causes for each resentment. So once you're done that out for all 15, you're going to go to the third column, the affects my. So you're just going to underline it, how it affect you. Well, having resentment towards Ron affected my self-esteem and my personal relationship with him, right? So that's kind of how we want to see it. But you're going to underline what was affected through all 15 resentments. And once you're done that column, we work to the fourth column. And now once we get to the fourth column at the very top there, it says, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done, we resolutely look for our own mistakes. So we're looking at our part here, and it says, where had we been? So I want to look at towards Ron, I was being selfish.
And right? It gives us 4 examples.
Yeah, exactly. And so I underlined selfish because I was being selfish, right? And I only look at my part. So through all the 15 resentments, you're going to underline, was I either selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, or frightened, or all 4. And then once we're done that for all 15 resentments, you're going to go to the very last column here. And that's our faults. That's our reactions. And you're going to pick 5.
So again, our faults are our reactions, right, Bobby?
Yes, exactly. How was I reacting to this person? And that all comes from our defects list sheet on page 10 there.
That's right.
We're going to pick 5 defects per resentment, not 6, not only 3. We want 5.
And we want 5. We don't. That's exactly right. Let me just say one other thing, Bobby. Is there's only 15 resentments, and there's a reason for that. Is it doesn't matter if you have 600 resentments or if you have 10 or 15. You get me? There's a reason why we've only picked 15, and you'll understand the reason why later on the steps.
Okay. So we're gonna just put 5 defects per resentment. And once you've got that for all 15 resentments, then you're done your resentments towards other people. Now, when you go to page 13 here, it's just a resentment towards yourself. So we do have a page on yourself here, and you're just going to fill it out the exact same way, except we have 10 causes instead of 5, and you have on the very last column, there's going to be 10 reactions or defects on how you react towards yourself.
Exactly. And that's important to have a resentment on yourself, and we can explain it later on down with the work when it comes to step 9.
Absolutely. So, and then at the very bottom there, it says to conclude that others were wrong was as far as most of us ever got. So that's kind of why we need to look at these last 2 columns here and make sure we fill everything out perfect here.
Oh, good. So that explains our resentments. That's our first list. Now we're going to go over to our fear list, and we're going to start on page 14 on our sheets. And here's the fear inventory prompt sheet. And here is the list of fears. And Bob's showing you a list of fears that may be helpful in your fear inventory. Feel free to add to the list if you need to. Page 68, we reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. So we have 2 kinds of fears. We have fear of maybe somebody beating us up, and we have other fears that have no resentment in connection with them. And then now we're going to go, just to explain this sheet a little further, we're going to have our fears, and we have a solution beside it. But, that's only going to help you out later once we get to page 15. Let's go to page 15. Okay, do you want to start off, Bobby?
Sure. This is our second list, fears, from page 68 of the big book. The solution for fear is on the bottom of page 68. And so look at your fear sheet for fears. So that's the one we just went over to pick out your fears.
That's right.
And what it says on the bottom of page 68 is we ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he may have us be. At once we commence to outgrow fear.
So let me explain that just a little bit. So when we have fears, we kind of say it's a fear prayer. And what we do is we ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention what he would have us be. So let me give you an example. It says right here, example is swimming. I direct my attention to what he would have us be. God, I'm afraid to swim. Why? Is because I don't want to drown. And we direct our attention to what he would have us be. And what God told me was take swimming lessons. So that's our solution. So we helped in the fear part is to give you the solution. So we're giving you the pick out 10 fears and why, and then write down the solution here. And then it says, page 68, we reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment connection with them, which I've explained that. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was as good as it went, but it didn't go far enough. All men who have faith have courage. They trust their God. So this is how you deal with fear. You want to add anything, Bobby?
No, that's it. We made it really clear with page 14. You're just going to pick 10 of those fears. You're going to quickly write down why, and then you're just going to write the corresponding solution for each of those.
And we're picking out the 10 fears on page 14 of our sheets. Okay, let's go to the third. Let's go to the third part. And the third part is, the third list is sex relationships. And it's on page 69 and 70. And it says on it, God alone can judge our sex situation. If sex is very troublesome, we throw ourselves the harder into helping others. If we're not sorry, our conduct continues to harm others. We're quite sure to drink. We're not theorizing. Here's great facts of our experience. This is on page 16. Okay, so Bobby, why don't you explain all of this?
Okay, so in the sex list, we have We have 5 sheets. The first one is going to be the one night stands. That's one we're looking at right now on page 16. So
That's right.
what we're going to do is we're not going to name all of our one night stands. We're just going to group all our one night stands together.
That's right. So maybe we've slept with maybe 20 people. We're not going to list them all their names. We're just going to group them into one night stands.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the first column and where have we been selfish. So just put down some examples of where you've been selfish around your one night stands. B, where had we been dishonest? Again, write down some examples of where you've been dishonest in your one night stands. C, where had we been inconsiderate? So where was I inconsiderate? Okay. D, who did you hurt? Maybe them, their family, yourself.
Exactly.
The list is huge. But E, did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? Okay.
A lot of people answer this with just yes. Put in an example. I caused bitterness because I was flirting with other girls or I was flirting with other guys. Write down exactly what you did.
Yeah, write down an example.
That's right.
Now F here again, this part it says where were we at fault. So this part again is where we're going to want that defects list sheet on page 10.
That's
okay?
right.
And we're going to write down 5 defects, our reactions there on what was my fault in my one night stands. Maybe I was lustful, manipulative, selfish, right?
Exactly. And name only 5 and put down 5.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Only 5. And again, very clear. That's from our defects list sheet.
Okay.
And now on all the sex lists, when you get to G, it says, what should I have done instead? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to page 21 and you're going to write down what you should have done instead in your one night stands. So that's on the top here, right?
Can you show it? Show the picture to everybody, Bobby? There it is right there. So only in this G part, what should have I done instead? I am going to write down, and it says right at the top, one night stand. So what should have I done? I shouldn't use girls. I shouldn't use guys, whatever the case might be. I'm going to write it. I'm going to go to page 21, and I'm going to list just the G part into that section there.
Exactly.
I'll finish it off. Do you want to add anything else, Bobby?
The only thing I wanted to say, the reason why we did this, you'll see furthermore in step 5, but
there's a reason why we're doing that. That's right. So yeah. Let's go to H, sane and sound ideal for a future sex life. That's with the one night stands or yourself or with others. That's what it's talking about. And usually a sane and sound ideal for a future sex life, doing what we're doing is not doing it anymore. And then I is we subjected each relationship to this test. Was it selfish or not? Most of them will be selfish, and that's it. Okay, at the bottom, I've done thousands of step 5s, and I had to write this in here. Sex relationships like child abuse, sex abuse that might have happened to us, and clearly we have no fault of our own and anything to do with this other than holding on to it over the years. What I'm trying to say there is you're not at fault for any of that sex or child abuse ever. You're not at fault. You're not at fault for any of it. So it would be no. But what should have I done instead is where we're going to put on the other page, on page, I think it's 21. Yeah, is what we're going to put there is I've been holding on to it for all these years, and I need to either talk to somebody about it, or maybe I need to phone the police. Maybe I need to tell my mother. Maybe I need to tell somebody exactly what is going on and not holding on to it any longer, but dealing with it. Okay, and then at the very bottom, respect is number 1, then honesty, communication, compromise, and comfortable are mostly what I hear if you're in a relationship now. So what should have I done instead? Maybe I do need to be honest, communicate, compromise, and being comfortable is what I should be doing now. Do you want to add anything else, Bobby?
Those may come out in the other ones, because you're gonna, after you're done your one night stands, the next 3 sheets are going to be personal relationships. And say you're in a relationship right now.
That's right.
What you're doing instead is probably respect, being honest, communicating, compromising, and feeling comfortable, right?
That's page 17.
Yes, exactly. So page 17, 18, and 19 are all going to be
Just examples. They're going to be the same, but we're going to go back. Aren't we going to go back on our last 3 relationships? We're going to go back on our last 3 relationships. We're going to put them up there, and we're going to answer. Go ahead, Bobby. We're going to.
We're just gonna fill out these sheets the exact same way we did.
Exactly.
The examples, fill out the boxes, but first one's one night stands, then 3 relationships, and then we have one on yourself.
And that's page 20. Let's go to page 20, and it says yourself. Now, what we want to do here is we don't need to do. Why we need to do one on ourselves is I need to see a pattern of what I should be doing and not doing. That's why we're doing this, because maybe you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing or you should be doing. And I'm talking about maybe strip joints or being an escort or whatever the case might be. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, that's basically it. We just want to see the ones on ourselves. We just want to look at the patterns that we've been doing so we can come up with a solution for this for later, right?
And I might have mentioned strip joints and escorts and stuff. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, you know what? We need to do this work, and we need to do this work honestly. And we can't get it out until we talk about it. So that's why we're doing it. Okay. So does that end?
That ends our next list.
Okay. And page 21 is, again, you're writing down this. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples. Can you show page 21, Bobby?
Yeah.
And this is just the G part of the inventory. So you're going to say, what should have I done instead? Put it down in this page here. Okay, let's go to page 22. Do you want to start off with page 22, Bobby?
Sure. The 4th list is the harms from page 70 of the big book. We have listed the people we have hurt by our conduct and are willing to straighten out the past if we can. Step 8 is done in our step 4 harms, but right now we're just going through our step 4.
That's right.
We hope you're convinced now that God can remove whatever self-will has blocked you off from him. So people hurt by our conduct, it says me. Bring over the 10 resentments on you. So you're going to go to your resentments on yourself, and that is on page 13. And you have the 10 causes of why you have resentments towards yourself. And you're going to write those in on the what happened part. So you're going to have your first 10 are going to be from your resentments, and you're going to transfer them over, right? And then
right. So you're bringing over your resentments over here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Absolutely. From what page, Bobby?
From it's page 13.
Yeah.
From page 13 is your resentments on yourself. So you're going to transfer over the causes of why you're resentful towards yourself.
So write down all their names here, and then you're going to go like, what happened? So I'm resentful at Ron, but what happened? I'm mean to him, and just leave it at that. Like, right? What happened?
Yeah, because this is just the one on ourselves, right? And then once you fill out those 10,
that's right. Because we have the resentments, we're going to the next page, which is 23.
There's going to be, it still says me. So this is still a harms towards yourself. And you're going to write in another 10 things or 10 reasons how you've harmed yourself.
So right? These are new things. Like I'm resentful at myself because of 10 reasons. I'm going to write down 10 other reasons of how I hurt myself. Not Absolutely. Just only resentful, but now how do I hurt myself? And I'm going to write down 10 new things.
Yes, exactly.
And then I'm going to put down what happened.
Yeah, and once we're done that,
I'll leave the third column by itself. Alone.
Yes, that's all for step 9. So all you're filling out is the first 2 columns, and then once you're done, you're going to go to page 24.
That's right.
And again, now this part it says people hurt by our conduct, and it's others. So it says bring over the 15 resentments towards others. So you're going to transfer over your 15 resentments that you have over to this page. So you're
That's page 11 and page 12. We're going to bring over page 10 and 11. No, page 11, sorry, page 11 and 12.
Yeah, we're just going to transfer over their names. So I'm going to write their names in the first column there.
The 15 resentments.
Yeah, and then after I've written those,
and I'm going to write down what happened.
No, we got to continue writing more names.
Okay.
After you've transferred over those 15 names,
yeah,
if you have more people that you've harmed, which obviously we have,
that's right.
We're going to write down their names in this first column, and we have it all the way up to 30 people.
That's right. So we're bringing over the 15 resentment of people. We're doing those 15. Plus, we're adding 15 more. So it's not only resentments, but it's people that I've harmed now, right? So maybe I stole something from you, and to get me, I'm not resentful at you, but I stole from you. Well, that's why I would add them to the harms list, is because I've hurt people, and all we're doing is adding 15.
Yes, and you might be asking yourselves why we're transferring over the resentments to your harms, but we're going to explain all that later, and you'll learn that through your step 5 as well.
Perfect, Bobby.
Once you've written down all the names of the people you've harmed, then you move on to what happened, which is the second column, and you're just going to briefly explain your part in what happened on how you harmed each person.
Exactly, and that brings us through the 4 columns, or the 4 lists that we need to do in step 4. And again, it should only take you about 2 hours to do the work and to write down and to do all of it completely. So if you're taking more than 2 hours, and if you're putting this on days, and maybe even a month, well, we understand how not willing you truly are. So if you're willing, and if you're on fire with love, do this within maybe a day or 2, and get a hold of your sponsor with all this information once you're done. Do you want to add anything, Bobby?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you. And that brings us to the end of step 4 and how we actually do a step 4. Thank you.